Boruto episode 83 review. Alright, this episode is a very good episode in my opinion. The only thing that I do have to say is that it wasn't enough action as a lot of people thought it would be, but I feel like it was supplemented due to the fact that it was a lot of information given in this episode. And not only that, the overall aura of this episode was a very dark, it was a very thrilling episode, and I really liked that about this episode. Something that Boruto didn't necessarily have in the past couple of episodes, and I really like that. Now, getting into the things that I thought that was very interesting was the fact that Lord Ku himself actually showed a little bit of him fighting, his fighting style. Lord Ku actually has particle style. Now, here's the thing. I thought that Lord Ku probably wouldn't have particle style. I've been very vocal about this in the comment section below because a lot of you guys basically think that Lord Ku is going to have particle style. And as I said, I didn't think it was going to happen, but Lord Ku proved me wrong. In my opinion, I thought that particle style would probably be something extremely rare. No one's going to have it, mainly because it's the Keke Toda. No one really has the Keke Toda. If you guys don't know what a Keke Toda is, I'll basically explain it 2.5 right now. It's basically derived from the Keke Genkai. I'm pretty sure you guys know what a Keke Genkai is. A Keke Genkai could be like a lava style, ice style, things like that. And the Keke Genkai derives from two chakra natures mixed into one. You're basically born with Keke Genkais. I don't think you can learn any Keke Genkai. But with a Keke Toda, it's three chakra types mixed into one, and you're basically born with that. Onoki has, and now we're getting to see that Lord Ku has. Extremely rare. I feel like it probably would make sense mainly because Lord Ku and Onoki are presumably related, but I'll accept I was wrong on this fact and you guys were right. Now this right here makes Lord Ku extremely overpowered, mainly because the particle style is a jutsu that not a lot of people know how to defend against. Now this basically goes to my point where I said, hey, the tsuchikage is not weak as it seems in this arc. I feel like a lot of you guys are probably gaining respect for the tsuchikage as we're gaining respect for Lord Ku, because I feel like if Lord Ku is just this overpowered figure, of course then the tsuchikage would eventually surrender and probably not even try to fight back. For example, if the tsuchikage was kidnapped by Naruto, no one would be like, hey, the tsuchikage is weak. Everybody would just be like, hey, Naruto's just that overpowered. Now in terms of kurotsuchi, I mean, like, the reason why I feel like she probably just gave up is the fact that he has the particle style. She probably doesn't know how to defend against the particle style. And not only that, as I said before in my past videos, it's the fact that Lord Ku is just working under the orders of Onoki, and kurotsuchi probably understood that, so she's probably just going along to see exactly what the hell is going on. Now, getting off of that point, I do want to talk about the action scene. Now, this action scene was very short. A lot of people thought it was going to be longer, including me. I feel like this action scene was probably about 2 minutes, but there's a lot of stuff that we could pretty much take from this action scene. And without even diving into the action first, I want to dive into something more broad, and it's the fact that Onoki doesn't necessarily have complete control over Lord Ku as we thought at first. Now, this basically stems from Onoki telling Lord Ku, hey, do not hurt Boruto. And of course, Lord Ku didn't hear none of that. He didn't want to hear none of that. He was like, Chief, this ain't it, and he basically tried to go all out against Boruto. I feel like this is very significant, mainly because I feel like Lord Ku and Onoki might have two different goals. Of course, we did figure out that Onoki did want peace, and I'll definitely talk about that later in the video, but I feel like Lord Ku could possibly have the individual goal of possibly becoming the tsuchikage. Now, we did hear Lord Ku tell kurotsuchi, he basically said like, hey, I want to become the next tsuchikage. We don't necessarily know for sure if that's going to be Onoki's goal. Now, here's the thing. I feel like there could be a little bit of resentment between Lord Ku and Onoki, mainly because Lord Ku possibly thought that, hey, I have particle style, I'm stronger than kurotsuchi, I should be the next tsuchikage. Now, this probably isn't going to be something that we find out in the next episode. I feel like this is going to be something that becomes clear later on throughout this arc. Of course, this arc is going to be very long. We've been saying this for a long time. But I feel like Lord Ku, if he does have that secret idea or that secret goal of becoming the tsuchikage, I doubt Lord Ku would eventually like make it blatant, like, hey, I'm gonna become the tsuchikage, old man, you can't do anything about it. I feel like it's gonna be a situation where Lord Ku tries to do it extremely peacefully. Like, for example, right now he's trying to prove to himself, to Onoki, like, hey, I should be the next tsuchikage. So that's gonna be something that we should keep an eye on going forward in the next episodes of Boruto. Now, going into the actual fight scene, very short fight scene. We did see Boruto use the rasengan. We seen Sarada use her sharingan. Boruto pretty much made the rasengan, and within a split second, Naruto had to summon shadow clones, take a second to create the swirls in the rasengan, and it was just too much time. But in terms of Boruto, he just creates in a split second and just attack like it's lit. Boruto could pretty much spam these rasengans. But after that fight scene, the writers did something that was very smart, which was having Shikadai be abducted by the Akuta. Now this is smart mainly because they put him right by the tsuchikage. Not only that, Shikadai was the right person to actually take mainly because Shikadai, off of the information that he's going to get from the tsuchikage, he's pretty much going to figure out what's their next move. For example, I feel like if they would have abducted Chocho or something like that, I doubt you would have probably put 2 and 2 together and figure out why they needed Mitsuki and all the other things that we have questions about. So they did a good job of writing, putting Shikadai right by the tsuchikage. Now once that happened, we did find out a lot of things in that certain situation, and it's the fact that the Hidden Stone Village got attacked by a rogue shinobi about 5 years ago or so. Now after that situation, we all seen Onoki basically propose a plan. He basically showed her the Akuta. Now it's a good idea in my opinion. Of course, if you have the Akuta malfunctioning, you can't really have that, but if they function well, it's a very good idea. You don't have to put your own shinobi at risk in times of a war. It can be seen as like a soft move, man, because hey, the Hidden Stone Village don't let their shinobi fight in wars, things like that. It's a very soft move, but it's also a very smart move, man, because your actual assets wouldn't be hurt in the process. Now here's the thing, I feel like kurotsuchi brought up a very valuable point, is the fact that creating all of these Akuta, creating thousands and thousands of Akuta, it would upset the balance of power within the shinobi world. I'm pretty sure you guys know Naruto has been working for years to basically make the shinobi world pretty peaceful, like as peaceful as possible. So there's no Jinchurikis, there's no wars, there should be no one making these Akuta or army-like species to basically protect their village, mainly because we are living in a time of peace. And I'm pretty sure you guys heard Seki say it, these Akuta are pretty much going to outnumber the amount of shinobi that are in the Hidden Leaf Village. And this is something to take note of. And no, I'm not saying that the Akuta are probably going to end up being stronger than the Hidden Leaf Village. They're probably basically take over the Hidden Leaf Village, mainly because the Hidden Leaf Village has Naruto and Sasuke, so that's not their problem. The Hidden Stone Village could possibly take over the Hidden Mist Village. They could possibly take over the Hidden Cloud Village. But of course, they'll have some problems with Killer Bee. But you guys just see the problems that may arise. Now, beyond that, I do want to talk about more things. And I feel like one of the biggest things that we're probably going to hear about in this episode is the appearance of Kirara and her eye dojutsu. Now, her dojutsu seems very pretty, probably the best looking dojutsu I've ever seen before, mainly because it's so colorful and it also moves. But as of right now, we haven't really seen it do much. I'll definitely make a theory video about this because I do have a theory about it. I just wanted to get a little bit more information about this. But Kirara's eye dojutsu looks like it only does genjutsu. As of right now, of course, we didn't necessarily see her in battle or anything, but as of right now, we've only seen it put people under a genjutsu. That's not terrible. That's not bad at all. Of course, Itachi's sharingan was basically overpowered in doing so, so I don't expect this eye dojutsu to be extremely weak or anything, but I feel like that's something that we should keep an eye on. Now, the other things I do want to talk about, small things. Boruto did pretty much kidnap Onoki. He didn't necessarily do it intentionally, but he pretty much did. He had to take Onoki because Onoki's probably going to die, but Boruto also does have to run away from the Akuta and Lord Ku. So Boruto's going to be running with Onoki in his hand. I don't know where they're going. Of course, the spoilers do give a little bit of hints to where they're going. I'm not going to talk about them in this video. As always, I will be making a spoiler video about the next episode of Boruto. Moving forward, they did basically commence the experimental process for Mitsuki. They are pretty much looking into Mitsuki and figuring out what they want to figure out. And of course, one of the first things that they did find was the fact that Mitsuki has a curse mark. Now, a lot of people didn't think that Mitsuki would have a curse mark. I didn't think that Mitsuki would have a curse mark. You guys all know the curse mark was pretty much made popular when Orochimaru did give Sasuke this curse mark. Now, it looks like the exact same curse mark. I'm not sure if Mitsuki has that ability to transform into the first stage of the curse mark. The second stage of the curse mark, however, I feel like it could possibly be the sage mode that we do know and love Mitsuki to have. And not only that, during that same time, the scientist basically looked like he was dumbfounded, like he didn't know what it was. Of course, us as Naruto fans know exactly what it is. Now, of course, we should be very worried about Mitsuki as of right now. Kakuyo in this other experiment, they basically talk about Mitsuki as like he's just a piece of meat, like, hey, we should just kill him, we should chop him up right now, and things like that. But in my opinion, I feel like we all want to see that happen. We all want to see them test Mitsuki's gangster. We all want to see them basically try to kill Mitsuki, mainly because we know once that happens, Mitsuki's pretty much not going to go in easy. At that point, I feel like the experiments are strong enough to probably force Mitsuki to go into sage mode. And once that happens, of course, we'll finally see Mitsuki fight somebody in Sage Mode. We'd all really love to see that happen. Now, of course, this is the Mitsuki arc, and of course, it would pretty much make so much sense for Mitsuki to turn into Sage Mode in this arc, and I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of people want to see. Now, the last thing I do want to talk about, and I feel like this is going to be very important later on in this arc, is the fact that Konohamaru is these guys pretty much the last resort. I know it's inevitable that Konohamaru is probably going to meet up with Boruto and everybody else. I just want to know in what fashion. Is Konohamaru going to have to fight anybody? Is Konohamaru going to be in like a near-death experience? But this episode is a very good episode. It did have that overall thrilling feel to it. I do want to know your opinion about this episode in the comment section below. But speaking of boy Baara B, and we out.
It's a knife.
Check my clock, I can't stop. Fuck around, make my 40 pop. No popcorn, I pop pistols. Reaming my body, clothing no issue. Bitch, you look sick, you need a tissue. You drop a body, I just might bless you. I'm metrosexual, no high cholesterol. Where's Jenny Craig? Bitch, just get sexual.